right, so our next guest is a creative mastermind paving his own way in the lane of psychedelic rap and a pop punk scene. In his climb to the top, so far he's amassed over 6 albums, 10 music videos, dozens of singles, and finally his biggest track, Me and My Beamer, surpassing 1 million streams as of recently. Those accolades may be boastful, but we expect much more from this guy in the future. Welcome to the Unsigned Success Podcast, Trip Rexx.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course, bro. How's everything going?
It's good. It's going great.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, just been working. You know, you said some of the stuff that's been going on lately, so things are good.
So, yeah, man. How's that track like getting to 1 million? What does that feel like?
Feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Feels good. Honestly, it's almost like anticlimactic because it's like something I've been looking to for like a long time. It's like, oh, 1 million streams on one of my songs.
Right. It doesn't feel as like as accomplishing as maybe.
It feels great. It feels great, but it's definitely like, I think with everything in life and definitely in music, it's like you have a goal that you're looking to for a long time, and when you get there, it's like, oh, this didn't make me happy or like
what
really
next?
Change my in the moment life, right? It's like, nah, on to the next.
Right. So that's a good point. Like we think like hitting 1 million streams, oh, things are gonna change for me. You know?
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So,
but it's like, you know, it was just one day. It happened, and you know, it's awesome, and it's gonna keep going up from here, I'm sure. But, you know, that's just the nature of life. You know what I mean? It's like you always got bigger goals to reach next, and
as you should.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's about the journey and the process more than any goal. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you're a kid and you're like waiting for Christmas. You know, like you're like waiting, and it's like, oh yeah, Christmas, and then like it happens, and like you get your presents or whatever, and then you're like, oh okay, like. That was great.
Oh,
like,
right, yeah. That's it. Like, not that you're ungrateful.
But it's like you were waiting all this time, and it's like, and now it's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh wow, I was like so looking forward to that, and it was really just like one day or whatever, or one moment. You know what I mean?
So like, what were your first influences in music? Like, what age did you start listening to music, or like, who got you into music? You know, tell me about it.
So I started playing instruments when I was pretty young. That was like my first real contact with music. I like started playing piano in like 2nd grade, and then I just kind of like tried a couple different instruments like through elementary school. But as far as like artists that have influenced me and stuff like that, I have to credit like a lot of the like finding music I did as a kid to like a specific one of my friends. Shout out my friend Nick. He like just growing up would always like loan me CDs and like just put me on to shit. Like he put me onto a lot of the artists that ultimately like shaped who I am as an artist. And
name a couple, like
Lil Wayne and Kanye West, and like even like in other genres too, like My Chemical Romance and the Beatles. And I mean the Beatles, my mom kind of put me on the Beatles because that's like, you know, that's like a timeless kind of
but thing. When your friend shows you like some music, it's like you take it more closely to heart.
Totally. And like definitely with hip hop, like a lot of I remember one day like when I was in like 5th grade or something, he gave me like a big stack of like just different rap records, and like I took them home and like put them all on my computer and just was like listening to them all, and they were all like key albums. Like he gave me like,
right. Did you have like an MP what did they call those, MP3 back then, where you could hold like 200 songs?
I was like burning it onto my
were you had CDs
iTunes.
Or oh my bad.
Yeah, it was CDs. My bad. Yeah, it was like he would have bought the actual CD and like was like loaning them to me so I could like burn it onto my computer, right? I don't know if that's illegal.
No.
But yeah, like I remember he gave me like, well, he gave me a bunch of classic ones like, you know, like Ready to Die and Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and like
that's a good one, bro.
Yeah, and then there was like some more current ones like Graduation and Carter 3 and
he really put you on.
Yeah, like he was giving me all like the best of the best. I remember he gave me Lupe Fiasco The Cool, which is like an album that I love to this day. All those were like super influential for me. So and then yeah, like I said, there was rock bands that he was putting me on too. Like I think he put me on to Fall Out Boy, who I really like, and just like a bunch of music. So yeah, my parents, they put me on to some music, but I'm not gonna lie, like my mom kind of was just like playing the radio and stuff like that.
Sure.
So like, you know, like sure, like hit records and stuff I would hear through her, but like, and then my dad, he grew up in the 80s and just like loves 80s music. So he put me onto like good 80s stuff like Michael Jackson and David Bowie and like Rick James and shit like that. But he wasn't really showing me like current music, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't listening to it. So
when you got to this point of like knowing all these artists and you had like this wide portfolio of you know, music awareness, did that influence you to want to make music, or was it like later on in life?
Yeah, definitely. I think like once I discovered music, so I would say like when I started like venturing out and listening to music outside of just what was being played in my house or whatever, it was like around like 5th grade, probably 4th, 5th grade. And when I discovered like music on my own, that was when I think I fell in love with it and like saw it as something that I wanted to do. I think before that I knew I wanted to like be an artist because I like used to draw as a kid and like I said, I played instruments and stuff. Yeah. I knew that I liked being creative and being
artistic. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And like I did a bunch of creative stuff like in school growing up. I did acting and choir and like all this stuff, right?
Was it like was all this accepted by your parents, or was it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Were they encouraging of it?
Yeah, they were encouraging. I wouldn't say like it's not their thing, so it wasn't like
they were against it or for
right. It was just more like I think my parents wanted me to do some kind of extracurricular stuff. I was never that athletic or like good at sports, so my dad would like make me play a sport every year until I was in high school, but I never was good at it. So
I see. Yeah.
But then I would do like more creative stuff, and that was where I kind of excelled more. So I think my parents encouraged it. Once I got older and was like, oh, I want to be an artist, that was something that took them a while to come around to. I think I probably started saying that when I was like in like maybe like 8th grade or freshman year of high school, like that, just as an idea. But I don't even know if I took it that seriously then. It was more like when I dropped out of college. That was when it was like my dad was like, I don't know if that's gonna work out for you, like, you know what I mean, like. And now he's like way more supportive because he sees that I'm like, you know, making headway. But yeah.
How's that feel to turn around that perspective?
It's cool. It's really good. Yeah. So my parents are super supportive, like especially now. Like my mom has always been a big supporter of my music. I don't know if she like. I don't know how long it took her before she thought it was like a realistic like career, but she came around to it. She came around to it earlier than my dad did. Like,
I see. Yeah. Well, I thought you were gonna say that she got onto it later. Okay, that's no. That's actually a mom. She's much more supportive.
She started like, kind of like, pushing, like not pushing me to do it, but kind of like agreeing that like, you know, like it was something I could do like. Not that long after I dropped out of college. Like once I started to make a little bit of headway, she was like supportive, and she was like, "Yeah, like keep doing it." So,
and where'd you go to college? Where?
Arizona State University.
Oh, nice.
But yeah,
that's a party school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, not really going to class.
Right.
Failing classes because I was just doing music and partying and shit like that. So
were you like deeply in music at that point?
Yeah, like that was when I really got into music. So I always made music, like I said, so I was playing instruments as a young kid, and then I started writing music probably like middle school, high school. So I was doing that for a while, but I didn't like get that serious in high school. Just like I would always do it, but I guess like, you know, I was doing other shit and like just being a teenager and shit. Yeah. So
smoking weed and
exactly, literally. So it wasn't until I was in college and like living on my own, that was when I started just like spending a lot of time songwriting. And that's when I think I feel like I kind of developed my skill to songwrite. And then that was when I felt like, okay, like this is something that I feel like I can do and like want to do. And I was, like I said, already not doing well in school because I just my heart wasn't really in it. I was kind of just doing it as like a backup thing, like just because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't know if it was realistic. So I went to college. And then
would you try to major in
philosophy, which I liked, like I enjoyed it, but once I just got so deep into music that I was like cutting class and shit like that all the time. It just was like, okay, I'm wasting time and money here. Like, I need to just fucking drop out. Like, so I did.
I mean, I feel like our generation is kind of maybe even sooner is at that kind of pivotal phase of where college is in that. If you're not going to college for
something specific,
exactly, that needs to have a degree.
I totally agree with that. I'm a big proponent of like go to school if you need to go to school, but I think that if you don't know what you want to do, it's not actually necessarily.
It's almost like a detriment, you know?
Yeah.
Because you could have got going
or especially if you know you want to do something that you don't need to go to school for. Like, like when I first started going to school, I actually was trying to do like a music, like a digital music degree or some shit like that. But it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't as creative as I expected. It was more like tech focused. But then also, I just realized like, why would I go to school to learn to be creative? No one can teach me to be creative. They can teach me technical skills that are involved in creativity. Like if I wanted to be an engineer, I could go to school for sound mixing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like being an artist and really just like writing songs or like, you know, you could, someone could teach you how to paint, but they can't teach you how to make a great painting.
Yeah,
like, you know
exactly.
what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Right?
Yeah.
So like
some people just have the taste and some people don't have the taste, you know,
totally.
for
and it's just not something you can teach, you know what I mean? It's just not like being an artist and really being creative is not something you can teach. So once you already know how to like execute writing a song or recording or whatever it is, the skills you need, like you don't really need to go to school. I feel like it just depends on what you want to do in music. You know, like I said, engineers totally understand like them going to school because it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I also know self-taught engineers who never went to school and they're really good and they're successful. You know what I mean? So it just depends. Everybody's path is different, I think.
So I wanted to like kind of pick out a topic that you brought up about songwriting, and like I'm really intrigued at that. So it's like, what did you automatically know that your talent was in songwriting, or did you find it like, oh, this is a really cool part of music making? Like, let me just how did that come about?
Yeah, it was kind of something that came about later because, like I said, you know, I started with like, I guess at first I probably thought I was gonna like do something involving like playing an instrument. Like at one point when I was like in middle school and high school, I was like playing in rock bands and stuff.
That's tight,
and
bro.
I like wanted to be like a rock star. You know what I mean? So I was already listening to a lot of rap and stuff, but I just, because that was the thing I was already doing, I just was like, oh yeah, I can like play in a rock band. And then it was actually in a band that I was in with my friend who I was telling you like kind of put me onto a lot of music. My other friend who was in the band like had a little, you know, studio basement where we would like record our songs, and we all listened to rap too. And they kind of started like messing around with making beats and stuff. And my friend whose studio was, he kind of started rapping, and yeah, like we would chill after practice and do that. And I just started writing rhymes because I wanted to be involved in that too.
Right.
And I liked it already. Like I liked, you know, rap already. So. That was how I got into rapping, and you know, for a while I just kind of would rap. I would just like write raps, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it wasn't as it wasn't as much writing songs. It was more like just writing bars.
Writing rhymes, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I did that pretty much throughout high school.
Bro, that took me back to a whole nostalgic phase of my life where I had like notebooks of rhymes. They were all trash, but
exactly.
That's so funny.
Like, and that was when I used to still actually write shit down, because now I don't write anything down when I songwrite. But
so you don't write anything when you?
Almost never. The only time I'll ever write anything down is if I'm like in a studio session where there's other people and like somebody's on the mic and I can't use the mic right away and I have an idea and I don't want to forget it, I might do that. But anytime I'm like in my own studio session or at my house or whatever, I literally just like get on the mic with the beat, you know, ready to go, and just kind of, I go like few bars at a time, you know, as I think of it, kind of just punch in. You know what I mean?
And that's like a great way to keeping like a dynamic flow of, you know, you can stagnate keeping like the same rhyme and same cadence for 16 bars.
Totally.
You know, keeping it fresh, like a freestyle. Like you almost have to force yourself to change it up, you know?
Exactly. Like I think the reason I ultimately like switched over to that style was because I found when I was like writing all the time and then going to record, sometimes I would like hit a point where like, oh, this didn't sound the way I expected it to. Then I have to go rewrite it and stuff like that. So
it didn't translate. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you are recording as you go. You can kind of just test it back right away, and like if that works, keep it. If not, try something else.
Absolutely, it's like a faster way of just trial and error.
Exactly, yeah. And I kind of learned from like watching like Wayne and like Jay-Z, like they kind of make their songs like that.
Right.
So, and actually, my friend whose studio I was talking about that I kind of like started rapping at, he kind of like would always do that too. And so, just seeing other people do that and seeing how it seemed to work better for them, made me want to try that. And then that's how I feel like once I started doing that, that was when I really started developing my songwriting skills. And that was like I said, like probably in college when I was like 19, like just like kind of.
You felt like you were starting to spit some good bars, like some real bars.
Like not only that, but just like figure out how to put a good song together, like structure,
compose like an actual
and have like a good have a subject, because like.
That's a good point.
When I was rapping in high school, I was kind of just like spitting bars, like you know what I mean, like just whatever, like coming up with clever shit, like you know what I mean. So I think as I matured more and as more shit happened to me and I just like lived life more, it became a lot easier to like write a good song. Because when you're a kid, like especially if you're like, like I said, I started trying to write songs in like middle school, and I'm not like. Nothing crazy had happened to me yet where it was like, I have that much to talk about.
Right, you're almost making shit up. And
right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, some people, it depends on the life you live. You know what I mean? But, so yeah, I think I matured as a songwriter as I matured as a person. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that's true of most people.
It's like a spiritual inquiry to make this music and to songwrite and to dig in your soul and find these. I don't know. It's really cool. Totally. So like, what would you feel one of your first experiences on the mic? How did that like you really trying to knowing that this is going to be a song, like you want to bounce this out? Did it intimidate you, or was it like, oh, this is weird hearing myself or whatever,
Yeah, I remember when I first started rapping, I didn't like how my voice sounded. But also when I first started rapping, I was like 13 or 14, and my voice hadn't dropped all the way yet. So
you have you have a song from when you're 13?
There's probably some stuff somewhere on the internet.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know. I don't personally, because I've just like, first of all, back then this was all getting recorded on like my homie's computer at the time. And it's probably like gone now because it was like a fucking desktop PC, you know what I mean? And this is like what, 2009 or 2010, something like that. So
your first experiences of recording were kind of just not in a way of like you you were just kind of just having some fun, getting
for sure. Like it was when I first started recording, it was definitely not something that I was like, oh yeah, this is like what I'm gonna do with my life.
Right.
Like I knew I liked music already, and I knew I wanted to do music probably. And well, again, like
you didn't know
until I dropped out of college. I was like, I was just growing up and just trying to like figure out life. You know what I mean? So like I didn't have a specific direction, but in the back of my head, I always knew like I want to be an artist. I want to I had like. Even as a little kid, I feel like I had like visions of like being on a stage or something, like, you know what I mean? So like, it was something I knew I wanted to do, but I was almost like afraid to commit to because everyone was telling me that's not realistic. Like, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean?
Fuck them,
so,
right?
Yeah, definitely, exactly. So, but when you're a kid and stuff like that stuff can get to you, especially when it's like your parents saying it to you or your teachers or like whoever, you know what I mean? So.
And they hold a little bit of gravity. You're like, ooh, shit,
exactly.
like,
and you don't want to disappoint people and shit.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
It just depends.
But you got to follow that dream, and like you have, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Imagine if you didn't, and you didn't get to see all these things
my life
happen.
would suck, bro.
Well, it's just
like I would rather.
The grass is always greener.
I just would rather do what I'm doing and do what I love, and not like even if I never like am like a fucking huge artist and make a ton of money, like I don't really care about that. Like I care about enjoying my life, and I wouldn't be happy if I was like working some office job, some 9 to 5. Like I've been there for a little while. After I dropped out of college, I worked in an office job for like about a year, and it wasn't for me.
It's the dopest. It's the dopest thing to be able to do what you love, man. Like like so little people in this world get to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So fucking. I guess like in a more of a metaphorical sense, like what does music mean to you? Like it does. I'll just leave it at that. What does it mean to you?
That's a good question. It's like everything to me. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just been this anchoring thing in my life. Like, I feel like it resonates like so deeply and like makes you feel things, and it kind of sets the mood for your life. You know what I mean? I think that it's one of the most like potent art forms in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And I think there's something really cool about how it's like so intangible. Like, you can't touch it or see it or like, you know what I mean?
I just got goosebumps on that. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
right? Like,
bro.
And I mean, like, it's crazy how like I watched this thing about how like animals don't even comprehend music the way we do. It's because it's all, it's all like tones and stuff like that, and it's a lot of it has to do with how our brains like kind of process it.
Right.
Like I saw, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this documentary that I watched, it said that like certain animals can pick up on certain parts of music, but not all the parts. Like a bird can recognize tempo or like a beat. Like they could bob its head to a beat, but it doesn't. Weirdly enough, I think I could be wrong on this, but weirdly enough, I think birds don't understand melody, even though they sing.
I see.
Weird, right? But like, and then I think it's like apes or something. They can understand melodies or something, but they don't get the tempo part as much.
These animals can't get the full comprehension.
Yeah, and it's like those all those pieces, melody, harmony, rhythm, like those things are what add up to like create music for us, right? So, I think it's cool. It's like this thing that's like in the ether. It's like in the air. And even with like songwriting, I feel that way. Like, even though I think songwriting is a skill you have to like hone. Although I don't know, maybe some people are.
I would 100% agree.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is just born with the ability to write a perfect song.
No way.
I think you have to hone it on some level, maybe. But I think you have to do some honing. But it's also like, it's not this thing where it's like you get good at it because you like learn how to do it. It's more just like this thing that you just do a lot and then you get better at kind of receiving the message. Because when I'm writing a song, I really don't feel like it's something that I have to like consciously think about. It's more something that I have to just kind of let come to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the weirdest feeling, bro. I mean, it's how cool. I would love for you to go on that. Like when you feel that like butterness of like just lyrics coming out and melodies coming out. Like what is that state? How does that feel to you?
It's just like the flow state. And like I have a song, it's not out yet, but it's my next song actually that I'm gonna drop. And it's one of the first times where I really like wrote a song and I consciously had no idea even really what I was writing about because it was just coming out so quickly. Right. But then at the end of it, I like listened to it and I was like, damn, this is
it all like came together.
Record. Like, you know
so
what I mean?
Cool.
Like, and I kind of it was like I didn't write the song. Like it was like God wrote the song or whatever. I don't I don't know what people believe in, but the universe wrote the song and fucking I was just
you stepped out of the way for a second.
Yeah, I was just the vessel.
Yeah, man.
So
it's beautiful.
It's really nice. Yeah, and I think I get a level of that on every song, but like this song was just something that completely just came out of me. Like I didn't even have time to think about it as I was writing it. It just like happened.
Right.
So, and I think those are like the best songs. So
absolutely,
it's definitely. I think I've heard a couple different great songwriters talk about it, but like I think Michael Jackson said that like I think there was some time where he woke up in the middle of the night and was like, I gotta go record this song idea, or Prince is gonna record it first, because he knew that it's just like this like thing that is out there, and like if you don't get the message, somebody else will.
Bro,
you know
I actually want to bring up something that I'm gonna be paraphrasing, but this guy was talking about how good ideas just get made, and it's like he was talking more along a business line about you ever have like an idea, you're like, oh man, that would be really cool, and then 6 months later you'll see that it's like it was
we have
just
a collective consciousness.
It was time for that idea. Exactly. You know what I mean? It wasn't you, it wasn't them. It was
we're all tapped into a collective consciousness.
It was that
I mean, it's the same reason why if you look at history, like different civilizations in different parts of the world who had no contact were doing the same things at the same times, around the same times. You know what I mean?
Goosebumps again.
Like I was talking with somebody recently about how like tattooing is like something they've done like in so many different parts of the world for a long time, and it's like interesting that like that's just a thing that humans do, or like have like faith, like religion and shit.
Just to round out this whole thing, there's like another study. There was a study done about monkeys or chimpanzees on different islands, and so these
I know the exact study.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So basically, these monkeys were given potatoes, and the potatoes had sand on them.
Yep.
And then they figured out, the youngest monkeys figured out that you can wash the potatoes off in the water, and the only way that, like, by the time the oldest monkeys got to the washing the potatoes at the end, obviously, because they're just the oldest monkeys. And basically, by the time that the one colony of monkeys figured it out, simultaneously, the other islands of monkeys were just quickly picking it up, just like, for some reason.
With no contact.
Yeah, no contact, crazy. No nothing. It was just by energy.
It's collective consciousness, bro. I mean, you got to think, like, our whole universe is literally just like we're just like clouds of atoms. You know what I mean? And like we think of ourselves as all these like independent objects and stuff like that, but really like my atoms are touching the atoms in the air, which is touching all the other atoms. So it's like everything is really connected.
Exactly.
Like on a scientific level,
like seeing is touching, like smelling is a sense of touch. Everything is technically touching each other. And we're getting a little bit abstract.
No, but for real, like even the fact that we only see like a very small spectrum of light, so there's just all this stuff going on that we don't even like necessarily see.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So who knows what kind of messages are being sent through the fucking airwaves and shit. Absolutely,
bro.
Absolutely. And one more thing I want to say about songwriting before we move on.
Completely,
like I think it was Ed Sheeran that said that it's like when it comes to like honing your songwriting skill, it's kind of like turning on a faucet that's like a dirty faucet, and you gotta let all the like muck kind of flow out first, and then eventually like the clean water starts coming out. So you can definitely practice and get better, but it's still something that's kind of coming from outside of you.
It's almost like saying like, which is pretty much true, that everyone starts out kind of shitty. You know what I mean? Like,
you got to write some shitty songs before you can like. You got to get that out before you can.
You got to get the muck
good
out.
Stuff, you know what I mean?
So going from that very philosophical phase, we're gonna go into another segment called Blunt Talk. We don't have the blunt for this session. We will at the next session. I'm sorry, my G.
It's all good.
These are the types of questions that are gonna be very. I want you to answer just honestly, bro, because a lot of people need to know, how to come to, how to face these creatives and what type of energy to bring. So, like, what type of energy do you not fuck with in a studio session? Like, what type of energy turns you off? What's something that gives you, like, just like
that's a great
bad
question.
energy?
I hate egos. I hate when people, like, are, like, just letting their ego into a session. And by that, I mean that I think that the best music gets made when, like, people just let the ideas flow and people aren't concerned with, oh, I did this and I contributed this or whatever, like in the sense like that if me as an artist, if I'm writing a song and somebody in my session, whether it's the engineer, producer, or if there's another artist in the room, if they hear me like working on a line or something and they suggest like, oh, what if you said this, or what if you what if you did this melody here, and it's a good idea, I look stupid to say, nah, I'm not gonna do that because I didn't write it. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that like people should be open to letting ideas in and like letting the universe run it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like when when people's egos get too involved in like who did what and who wrote what.
Absolutely, bro. I mean, I've definitely encountered those types of people.
And I don't, by the way, everyone should get credit for what they do. Like, I just mean that I think that you can impede the workflow and like impede like making good music if you're too afraid to collaborate. And
if you're going to like deliberately create those blockages, then, obviously you're not going to let the universe work, right?
Right.
So like, here's the next question. I guess I'll go with this question first. Give me 2 red flags of creative collaboration going wrong. So like, it could be the ego thing. Is there anything more specific?
2 red flags.
Well, just one red flag. You know, give me something that would be like somebody not sending in like the proper format of email. You know, it could be simple as that. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right. I think one would be like having expectations. Like, I feel like when you put expectations on anything, like in art especially, like it can kind of just keep it from happening in the best, like most natural way. So like when it comes to a collaboration, like sometimes I feel like artists will have like something already in mind, like, oh, I have this track that, you know, you would sound great on, or like I want to do a song that's like this, rather than just come into the session like, hey, like let's just get together and see what happens, like, you know what I mean? That's how I like to create. So
right.
Yeah, but that's just in general. I don't really like to like go into like making a song like, oh, I'm trying to do this, because sometimes I feel like that will like get me frustrated if I'm not reaching that goal or whatever, you know what I mean? Rather just let it kind of happen as it, you know, happen naturally.
Right. That's a really good way to, that's, yeah.
I'm trying to think of another red flag for collaboration. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I hate when somebody asks me to collaborate and then they're like they ask me and then they're like, okay, send me an open. Like,
oh, right.
No, bro. Like,
no, you asked me, my G.
Either
like,
you sent me an open or like set up a session. Like,
right.
No. Exactly. And you asked me. I hate
expectations,
that.
man. That's actually, it's a good one, man. Going off a little bit on who's the most overrated artist? Just one person in their top of their in the top of their genre.
I gotta throw shots at somebody. Overrated.
Like it could be Taylor Swift. It could be like someone outside of your genre. You know. Someone who you think is overrated.
Oh man, I don't wanna speak ill of anybody, but I think overrated in their genre.
This is blunt talk, bro.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. On
I'm
the
just
question. I mean, Taylor Swift is not a bad answer, because I don't personally like Taylor Swift, but like I understand that I understand why people listen to her, and I don't think she's a bad songwriter. I just like I don't understand. Like, I think there was some metric that I heard about like the amount of streams she got on her new album or something. I can't remember.
Like broke records, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, really? Like that many people are listening to Taylor Swift? But you know, I'm the kind of person where like I genuinely think there's a place for all music, and I don't like to I feel like music opinions are all subjective at the end of the day. So like, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm not crazy about her music.
Me neither, bro.
Off the top of my head, as far as pop goes, because there's some really great pop artists.
I'm not hating on Taylor.
No,
if you're listening, Taylor, I love you.
I feel you. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good answer, I think.
Okay, so here's the most maybe intrusive question: is do you think that you work hard enough at your craft?
Yeah, I do. I work pretty damn hard. So,
good. Good.
Especially when it comes to songwriting. Right now, what I've been doing lately is really trying to work harder on the marketing and like content creation side of things. So that is somewhere that I think I still need to keep improving. I think you can keep improving everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I can always improve as a songwriter too. But I definitely feel like I've put in like, I think I might have at least be close to putting in my 10,000 hours when it comes to songwriting. I've done a lot of songwriting in my life, and I'm very confident with my skill as a songwriter. So.
Absolutely. How many times would you see yourself in a session like per week or something like that?
It depends. So like I'll go through phases where if I'm like in like album mode or just like writing a lot, then it could be, you know,
5-6 times a week.
Yeah. And I have a home studio, so like
or it could be like 1 time a week if it's not on an album. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right now though, actually, I haven't made a song in like 2 months, just because I've been going hard with like making other kind of content and playing shows and like doing other stuff like that. So yeah, I go through phases, but
wait, quick segue. Trip if you guys are in LA, he's doing a lot of live shows. So check out his information to where you can see him perform live. He performed at the Viper Room the other day.
Yeah, I just did last week.
Where are you performing next?
I'm performing at Adults Only on the 28th.
Okay,
November
dope.
28th. And I have another show that's up in the Valley on the 25th. I think it's at a place called The Last Call.
Okay, dope, bro.
Yeah,
you said which day for that last call?
The 25th.
Of this month?
Yes.
Okay, dope.
November, yeah.
So November 25th and the 28th. Look out for those dates, guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
Yeah.
But like I'd say when I was at the peak of like my songwriting was when I was still in school, but then for like the next year, the next like 3 years after I dropped out, I was just like going hard writing songs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have written like easily like 500 songs, maybe 1,000. I don't know.
That's a shitload of songs.
I've written a ton of songs that like never came out or just got scrapped or whatever.
Because you have 6 albums.
Yeah. So
there's at least like 12 tracks on each album, right? Some 10, 12. I haven't looked at each one.
There's a couple with like 9 or 10, but most of them do have like 12. Yeah. So I think on Spotify I've got like 90 songs or something out.
That's impressive, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But and then like I said, that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg because I actually have more than 2, but 2 solo mixtapes that were like officially released on like SoundCloud and all that stuff before I started dropping stuff on Spotify. And before that, I have mixtapes that I was doing in high school and stuff that like are kind of buried now or gone off the internet.
Sure.
But I've been putting out music for a long time and writing songs for a long time. So I've definitely like done a ton. And then also, growing up, I collaborated a lot with other people. So there was like collab mixtapes that I did with people and stuff like that. There's been a lot of music from me out on the internet at different times. So I
love how much you like collaborate with like dual mixtapes and what do they call that, co-mixtapes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I always did that like growing up.
That's dope. And I love that.
Thanks, man. Thank you. So yeah, that's I like to work with other artists. I like to work with specific producers and like do full projects with them.
That's what I was gonna ask. So have you changed? Obviously throughout the years you must have changed engineers and producers. Do you prefer to stick with one, or is there do you stick with one, or do you go jump around?
Yeah, so I've worked with different ones, and there's rarely been times where I literally am just working with one, but right now for the past like couple years I've been pretty much working with my guy Ray Real, who like he does the majority of all my stuff now.
Ray Real?
Yeah, Ray Real.
Nice.
He'll bring in other producers sometimes to like collaborate with him or to give me a beat. But he's handling most of my production right now. So,
nice, bro.
He's been kind of helping me like.
Is he like a beat maker and engineer?
Yeah, mostly beat maker. He's actually done some really dope big shit.
Sorry,
I was gonna say he has co-produced some stuff with Hit Boy, like
oh shit, that's cool, bro.
Yeah, if you know like Trophies by Drake and
I was actually reading that about.
He did a Beyonce song too.
I read your bibliography.
Hell yeah. No, he's super dope. So check him out for sure. I've worked with other producers over the years. A lot of times they're just like friends of mine or just like people I meet through music connections and stuff. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, keeping that consistency with one engineer is definitely like a good call, but having the, like also like find in the same way of creative collaboration between these mixtapes and different artists that you collaborate with, you find new sounds and you are able to create new music because of it.
Totally.
So,
yeah, that's definitely something I like about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess like the last segment that we're gonna get into is just like a quick question. I mean, before we get the the outro, but I wanted to go into some quick questions, some like music based quick questions. Logic or Pro Tools?
I like Pro Tools.
Pro Tools.
Yeah.
FL or Ableton?
FL for sure.
I
I like do a combination of FL and FL for production and Pro Tools for recording vocals.
There
That's
you go.
what I
Yeah.
like.
We answered this before. Writing or freestyle?
I'm a writer.
Yeah.
I like to freestyle, and I've been like trying to get better and better at it.
Mm-hmm.
I just like haven't spent enough time doing it. Like have not put my 10,000 hours in there. So
yeah.
but you know, if I'm like vibing and like smoking and drinking with my friends, I'll probably like kick a little freestyle. You know.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, obviously you do both, but rapping or singing?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm a better rapper than I am a singer. Like if we're talking technical, I'm not really a great singer. I know how to sing because I've sung like most of my life, but I definitely rely on the pitch correct. You know, but I love to sing, and I love not even that I love to sing. I just love melodic songs. So I like to make melodic songs, and I use effects to make my voice sound cool. So
absolutely. ASCAP or BMI?
I have ASCAP.
ASCAP.
So, yeah.
What platform do you distribute your music on?
Like
DistroKid or?
No, it's Create.
Oh, you did? Okay, you have the distributing.
Yeah,
I
Create
see.
Music Group. Yeah. So
man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what they distribute with, or by chance?
I think they do it themselves. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I think they
That's
are
actually,
a distributor. So yeah.
I see.
They handle it all. So
nice. Night session or day session?
I like night sessions. Like usually when I go to the studio, it's at night. But I'll go during the day too. I just like to go to the studio.
Right.
So.
Live instruments or samples for beat making?
I love both. But lately I've been on like a live instrument kick. Yeah. But I love a good sample. It's just harder to clear samples and stuff, So now I try to avoid that. But
in an ideal world, live instrument, I guess.
Right. But no, good sampling when it's done well. Like I love samples.
Right. Yeah. Let me see. Last song you listened to?
Oh, last song I listened to. It was probably one of my songs, honestly. I think it was my song Cosmos. Just because earlier today I was like, I had to do some write-ups for like some songs, so I was just like playing them just so I could like think about them while I was writing.
Fair enough, yeah. First song or album you remember listening to?
First song or album I remember listening to? That's a good question. I mean, when I was a young kid, my mom, like I said, my mom put me on the Beatles, and it's funny, she actually, when I was like a kid, like a toddler probably, she gave me this like Bugs Bunny sings the Beatles like CD.
That's
and it was like
crazy that you remember
all
that.
the Looney Tunes characters singing Beatles songs, and I remember listening to that all the time. And then like I liked the songs, so then when I got a little older, I went and listened to the actual Beatles versions of them.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that was
like,
not the answer.
It's such a weird story, but it super stands out to me.
That's so funny.
But yeah, my mom was a Beatles fan, so that was why she got me that.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Tyus, before we go into the, I wanted to, do we have time to do the music video breakdown? Like, I'm just going to pull this up. I have it already. We're going to watch it. And then I'm going to cover this up with the actual music video in post. And we're just going to comment on it.
Yeah, sounds cool.
And then we'll just go into the outro.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So let's lean in a little bit. Yeah. That's still rolling. All right, so now we're gonna get into one of Rexx's music videos. One of the music videos he wanted us to look at was Blue's Clues.
Yes,
when
sir.
this release?
It dropped at the beginning of this year in January.
Nice. Let's take a look, guys. All right. Let's get that back.
So like, pretty much all of this video is done in post.
Right.
Like
so it's a major green screen production.
It was a blue screen because I had the green shirt.
Oh,
so
right.
I had to use a blue screen, but yeah, it was.
Let me turn this down a little bit. But I feel, you want to look at it? I've never really seen like at least as of recently like a full green screen music video, and I think it works really well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
There's a couple scenes later that are like this scene here that aren't green screen.
Oh yeah.
The majority of it was just me in front of the blue screen, and shout out the guys who did the animations because they killed it.
Right. Yeah. Who you want to shout them out, or what they?
One of the guys, the guy who designed all the characters, his name is Blake. I'm blanking on his last name.
If you give me his
it's at the end.
If you give me I'll put it in the description. Yeah.
It's in the credits.
Okay, bet.
His IG, and then the other guy. The other guy just did the tracking on it. His name's at the end too. I'll point it out. But and then my homie from high school actually, his name is Kabir Khan. He directed this. And he does a lot of video work for some different people in the music industry. So.
Right. I'm digging this like therapy. It's like, it's really dope, bro.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so like the record was never like really supposed to be like Blues Clues themed exactly. It's just like a record about like some kind of deeper shit that I was like just feeling when I wrote it. But I kind of just naturally made the Blues Clues reference as part of the hook, and then my girlfriend really liked the song, and she was like listening to it a lot, and she had it on in the car and was just like, hey, like, what if you did a music video where you like pretend to be the guy in the Blues Clues? And at first I was like laughing at it, and then I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and so then I kind of came up with the concept of like, oh, I can make it like kind of like a delusion, like I'm in therapy and like I'm imagining myself in Blues Clues.
Putting a little bit of depth to the idea,
exactly,
yeah.
Yeah, and then we tweaked the characters a little bit and made it like a little more, just on subject. Like,
well, you also like cut in these like liquor store vibes and kind of made it like more degenerate, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
I wanted it to match the song.
Yeah.
We named the dog Perp instead of Blue.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
just little stuff like that. So
I
wasn't sure about copyright.
You got to make merch out of Perp.
Yeah,
that is a good idea.
Designs of the characters now. I just started I'm about to like make
Perp merch.
Yeah, I'm about to make my merch store like live right after Thanksgiving. So I just have some basic designs right now, like that are just Rexx designs, but I definitely plan to roll out like a Blues Clues.
I'll be the first to cop.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Once again, shout out everybody who worked on that video.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was the first music video that I did where I felt like my vision like perfectly came to life, and it was like exactly what I wanted. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm happy that it's gotten a good reception, and that song is
32K views, guys.
Hell yeah! Shout out to everybody who's watched that and who supports the song and stuff. The song has like 100,000 streams too. So
there you go, man.
Shout out to all my fans and my supporters.
Very cool, man. Man, I really love you taking the bull by the horns and making your own creative art. And obviously, there's like much more music videos than that. And you probably have a creative hand in those too, right?
Yeah. There's some where I direct them. It just depends on who I'm working with and if I come to the table with an idea already. So like there are times where I'll have a song and I just have a vivid image of like, okay, this is what I want the music video to be. And in that case, I'll usually like kind of take charge and direct and stuff like that. But then there's been times where I just have a song that is getting good reception, or I just like the song and I want to do a video for it because it's a single or whatever, but I might not have like as much of an idea for it. And in that case, I'm very open to collaboration, and I like to, when I'm working with another artist, I like them to have input. So if the director wants to take the lead and I don't have an idea, then I'll be like, yeah, do your thing, man. I want to see what you come up with.
Do your thing, 21. Do your thing.
Exactly.
All right. Well, before we get into, I guess, the credits of the show, is there anything that you actually? I want to ask this. I actually asked this to most of the people. Is there any advice that you'd give to your past self that's just starting on this journey to help them out?
Yeah, definitely like be patient. Don't try to skip steps. Just don't quit. Like slow and steady wins the race. So, yeah. And I'd probably try to like show them like some of my music and be like, make this. Like,
yo. So we're gonna, that's fire.
So yeah.
So, how do you feel like collaborating with this will be the last question. How do you feel collaborating with other people? What part of success does that have in your career? Like, in what way does that? Do you feel like it was a catalyst or something that? Anyway, I want you to explain. Like, what is that? What does it mean to you to collaborate with people?
It means a lot because I feel like I really got started just through collaboration, like just through having fun with my friends, and like, you know, it wasn't something that I started doing just on my own. It was always something I did socially at first.
Right.
So as much as I love to work on my own now, and
Solo dolo.
yeah, like I like both. I love both, but collaboration has always been a big piece for me. And even when I'm working on my own, like, it's rare that I'll like self-produce like a record. Like, I've done that before, but I really like to at least be collaborating with a producer. So I'm pretty much always collaborating, and you know, it's a big part of what I do. Because when I write songs, it's always something I start with a beat always. Like I don't really like write something and then try to go put it on a like,
absolutely
a beat. You know what I mean? So yeah, collaboration is very important, and I think it's how you make great art. Two heads are better than one. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, bro.
Yep.
Hey, bro. I really want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
One of my favorite guests so far.
Thanks, bro.
And I want you to take this time to tell the people what is coming up for you, or what they should look at, or tell them what to inform them on what's going on.
No doubt. Check me out. My name is Rexx with 2 X's. I'm on all platforms. I got new music coming out at the top of next year. I'm gonna be putting out a lot of music next year. My last album that dropped this summer is called Blue Planet, so definitely check that out. I got a song called Me and My Beamer that he mentioned before.
Hit a milli.
Yeah, it just hit 1 million like a couple days ago. So I'm really
perfect timing for this podcast.
Yeah,
it's great.
Really grateful for that. So thank you to everybody who's been streaming that song, and just expect more consistency from me, and that's it.
Wonderful. As you guys know, to tap into the Roar Music Collective, go to the IG, go to roarheadquarters.com. We have memberships, we have video production, we have social media production or management, and other than that, there's verse slot giveaways that we do. There's an open slot to anyone who wants to submit their best 16 to the special guest of that month who makes that track. You can get on that track and make some moves, okay? So thank you for tapping in, and have a great night, guys, okay? Peace.
Oh yeah, peace.